Welcome, everyone, to Venus Girl Tarot Guidance. Today, we will be talking about the many symbolic meanings and messages behind the Death card. Hopefully, everyone can see that the Death card can be misinterpreted many different ways. A lot of people, when they see the Death card in the tarot, I have to laugh. When they see the card in the tarot, I mean, they panic. You mustn't panic because this card represents a lot more than just death. So let's unpack the card. First and foremost, when you look at this card, death is riding in on a horse. And normally when you think of death, you think of death and destruction and leaving just a wake of mayhem. However, death in the Rider-Waite tarot cards rides in with a flag. And the flag is a black banner with a white rose. And this is considered to be a mystic rose. And the mystic rose really does signify life. And you can even kind of see, the circle of life. We talk a little bit about how that is represented a lot in these cards, the circle of life. It's in a circular fashion. And so he doesn't look quite threatening except for the fact that he is a skeleton. And he doesn't look like he's eaten in a long time. In fact, he looks very hungry. He could probably do with a chicken wing right about now, right there in that hole of his in his face. But anyways, back to the card. If you notice, he's coming in on a white horse, and white oftentimes in many cultures, especially the Chinese culture, I do believe, represents death. I would have liked, and I'm sure Rider-Waite, more so Waite than Rider, probably would have preferred to name this card Transformation, because that's exactly what this card is. This card does not mean actual physical death. However, if a tarot card reader is intuitive and reads it in that manner, then so be it. However, the original meaning of this card, again, was to represent something symbolic in nature. So, and this may have been one of the few cards in the tarot card deck that Waite said that he didn't lend as much symbolism to it as he did a kind of mystic nature, because the death of these individuals in the picture, you've got the Empress, her child, you've got the king, and they're all kneeling before death, especially with the king or the bishop or whatever he is right here, reaching out to death. Now, and I know if you saw something like that coming into town, you wouldn't be reaching out to it. You would be running the other way. So this makes me really believe, and I get a good feeling from this, that this is a true card of transformation, and not necessarily physical transformation like a caterpillar to a butterfly, but more of a mental consciousness, a deeper thought process, a change in belief systems, a change in what was once pre-programmed and known into the human's brains as children becomes changed, transfigured, transmuted into a deeper level of spiritual consciousness. Now that's kind of deep, but the card is it's really a beautiful card when you think about it, because if you really looked at it, not only is he carrying this rose into town, which we all know, or maybe we don't know the story behind the rose, is that the rose can survive winter. Bette Midler made a song about it called The Rose. And so the rose can come up through snow, can come up through hardcore weather and still survive. So that is so symbolic in nature. So from the horse and the color of the horse to the banner to just the fact that the king and queen are not running from this thing. And in fact, the king or the bishop is reaching out as if, please help us, transform us, make us understand and know more about the spiritual realm, the universe, and the deeper secrets of the doctrine. I know in the first one I had to laugh at myself because I kept saying doctrine. But the doctrine, understanding the doctrine and the secrecy of it, we want to know more. We want to know more is what that king is saying. What's so lovely in the back is all of these, well, in the front part of the card, you can see death has taken over many individuals. However, these individuals are on the verge of rising from the darkness. You've got one figure in particular, he's knocked out right here. He's going into deep dark night of the soul. So a lot of times this card represents the dark night of the soul, transformation. You've gone within, you've done the work, and now death of that old self is happening and a rebirth is taking place. So this card can also mean rebirth. So a lot of tarot card readers, instead of using the negative, like, oh yeah, this is death, things are ending, bum, bum, ba-da, bum, bum, bam. And then all of a sudden your whole world is crashing down on you, because this particular tarot card reader has chosen to use words that are negative. So on more of the positive tarot card readers, I've noticed they'll say, oh, this is the death card. Oh, I love this card. This card is showing that you have gone within, you have done the work needed to be done, and now you are transmuting that energy into being a better version of yourself. So notice all of that was positive feedback. And I think many of the viewers, if there are any readers out there watching this, and they, I would suggest the readers actually watch this as well. A suggestion is, especially since a lot of people are hinging these readings on big decisions in their lives, the readers may want to be very careful in the words that they choose in conveying these messages to the viewers, because many of the viewers are taking this very seriously, and I would hate to think that a viewer does something extreme just because of a tarot card reading. So we've got to be very careful in how we interpret, and we can interpret in a positive way, because there's really every single major arcana that I presented in part 2 of this series every single one of them, even though there may be some sort of negative underlying undertone, every single arcana truly represents something positive happening. Even the tower moment is positive because it means once that has happened, you can now do some great things and rebuild an even bigger tower, but on sturdier ground. A golden freaking tower with bling bling and gold rims and spinners on it. I don't know, but every card can be read in a positive light. If you, my dear viewers, think of a card that can be read in a negative light, and that's the only way you can read it, please put that in the comments down below. One last thing before we go on the death card and how this can be misinterpreted or can be used in a negative way. We want to use it in the positive way that it is a transformation card, period. It is a card showing that no matter what you go through in the dark night of the soul, no matter what you encounter, that you will be like the rose, the mystic rose here, and you will grow and flourish in harsh circumstances. So what's interesting in the background, if you see very back here, although all this death is occurring up here, if you look in between the two towers in the back, there's a huge sun, which means positivity. And we know that the sun is the most positive card in the tarot card deck, or at least the Rider-Waite tarot card deck. It's the most positive card. So, which means that after transformation occurs, when it finally does occur, then you can get to enjoy a life of sunlight, positivity, and fullness and fruitfulness. And that is the whole meaning of the death card, to transform to a life of beauty, love, and light. And once you do, you are living in divine will and divine light, and blessed by the heavens and universe above. And so with that said, I believe that's it for this particular card. I thought there was something else that I wanted to say about this card that many readers may misuse. But for the most part, the readers are very talented and gifted and read this card very well. And like I said, I respect many of the readers on YouTube. And so at this time, viewers, do not forget to like, share, or subscribe to my channel, Venus Girl Tarot Card Reading Guidance. This is how I make my living. Down below you'll find a link for the Cash App and for PayPal and for Google Pay. So I really greatly appreciate the donations. This was a calling. The Holy Spirit wanted me to convey these messages because as I read hundreds and hundreds of messages from tarot card readers, I realized that some of the messages were coming across in a way that was not only confusing, but sometimes it was mixed up and jumbled up. I even saw a reading once where my whole reading, my whole situation was in the Sagittarius reading, and it was because the individual I was dealing with, their rising on their neonatal birth chart was Sagittarius. But if he didn't know that, and if I didn't know that, I would have never known what was going on in that reading, because certainly his sun is not in Sagittarius, his moon is not in Sagittarius, but his rising was in Sagittarius, and it wasn't his reading, it was mine inside of his reading. So those are other issues that will come upon when you think, oh, this isn't my reading. You need to look deeper, look around, pay attention, and really listen to the reading, because it almost always ends up being someone else's reading around you. With that said, in love and light, I hope you enjoyed this show. God bless all of you, and I look forward to seeing you in the next go round. The next go round, we will be addressing the Lover's card. And with the Lover's card, there is so much to interpret with that. So please tune in next time to my show. I will be putting out another one tomorrow. So this will go on daily. Take care, everybody. Have a fantastic night.